Alright guys, welcome back to another Sunday School video. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you're all having a great day, but hey, maybe you're not having a great day. And I mean, we've all had our bad days, right? And that's okay, but in today's lesson, we're going to learn how God can take even those bad days and those bad things that happen to us, and He can actually make them into good things and things that make us stronger. We're also going to be starting to learn, we're also going to start learning about a new person. His name is Joseph. And Joseph is going to live in Egypt, and he had some bad things that happened to him too. Really bad things, actually. But God also uses Joseph for some amazing things that we'll learn about. Now, quick question. What is the very first book of the Old Testament? Do you know? If you said Genesis, then you're correct. Genesis is the first book of the Old Testament and the Bible, but it's where our lesson is also going to be coming from today. Genesis chapter 41 specifically. So we're going to be going back a little bit back in time from where we were learning about last week. Anyways, let's get right into it. Life in Egypt was very difficult for Joseph. He was sold to a man and made to work as a slave. Then his master put him into prison, even though Joseph didn't do anything wrong. But God blessed Joseph in prison by giving him the ability to tell the meaning of dreams. He could interpret dreams. When two servants of Pharaoh, his chief baker and his chief wine taster, and Pharaoh, real quick, is like the king of Egypt, basically. So Pharaoh's chief baker and his chief wine taster were both put into prison, and Joseph helped them by telling them what their dreams meant. 2 years after the dreams of Pharaoh's wine taster and the baker came true, Pharaoh himself had a dream. He dreamed that he was standing on the bank of the Nile River. Suddenly, 7 fat, healthy-looking cows walked out of the river. After that, 7 skinny, hungry-looking cows came out of the river. These skinny cows ate up the fat, healthy ones. Then Pharaoh had another dream. This time he was standing in a field of grain. He saw 7 full, ripe heads of grain growing on a single stalk. Suddenly, 7 thin, welted heads of grain sprouted out of the stalk and swallowed up the 7 full, ripe heads. Pharaoh then woke up and realized that he had been dreaming. These dreams troubled Pharaoh deeply, so in the morning he sent for his wise men and magicians, and he asked them what the dreams meant, but none of them could tell him. Then the chief wine taster spoke up. He finally remembered Joseph. He told Pharaoh how Joseph had explained the meaning of his dreams when he was in prison. So Pharaoh immediately sent for Joseph and had him brought to the palace. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had some strange dreams last night, and no one has been able to tell me what they mean, but I have been told that you can understand dreams and tell their meanings." "I can't do that by myself," Joseph replied, "but God will help me find an answer for you." After Pharaoh told Joseph his dreams, Joseph said, "Both of your dreams actually mean the same thing. God sent them to show you what He is going to do. First, there will be 7 good years where the farmers of Egypt will be able to grow more than enough food for all of the people." That's what those 7 fat, healthy-looking cows represented in the dream. Then there will be 7 bad years when there will be a terrible famine in the land and hardly any crops will grow. A famine is just, it's a shortage of food. So like if you planted a garden and you really wanted some good fruits and veggies to pop up, yeah, that's not going to happen. You're going to get hardly any plants at all. So he's saying that there's going to be a great shortage of food across the entire land of Egypt and everywhere, basically. God sent the 2 dreams to make you understand that these things are definitely going to happen, and they're going to happen soon. What you need to do now is to choose a wise man and put him in charge of Egypt. Give him some men to help him, and have them collect as much food as they can during the good years and store it away. That way, you will have food during the years of famine, and your people will not starve. This seemed like an excellent idea to Pharaoh. He asked his advisors, "Can we find anyone better for this job than Joseph, since the Spirit of God is with him?" And then he said to Joseph, "Since God has made all of this known to you, there is no one as wise as you are. So I'm going to put you in charge of all of my people, and they will have to obey you. I will be the only person in Egypt who will have more power than you." Then, to show that he was giving Joseph the power to rule, Pharaoh took off his own ring and he put it on Joseph's finger. He also dressed Joseph in some royal royal robes and put a gold chain around his neck. Finally, he had Joseph ride through the streets in one of the chariots. Everywhere Joseph went, the people bowed down to him as their ruler. Joseph was only 30 years old when he began to serve, and Pharaoh as ruler in Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he began to serve Pharaoh as a ruler in Egypt. During the 7 good years that followed, he traveled all over Egypt. He made sure that there was always extra grain that was collected from the farms and put into big storehouses in nearby cities. He gathered such huge amounts that these storehouses were soon filled to overflowing, meaning that there was so much grain that the storehouses ran out of room. They couldn't store anymore. Then, when the 7 years of famine began, Joseph opened the storehouses and began to sell the grain to the Egyptian people. And people from all other countries around Egypt also came to buy grain because the famine was everywhere. A lot of bad stuff happened to Joseph in the beginning. He was even thrown into prison. But because of his faith in God, Joseph was able to tell people what their dreams meant. And his special power given to him by God made him one of the most powerful leaders in Egypt. God was able to use the bad times in Joseph's life to help save many people from starvation. And he can do the same for us. God can make our troubles into good things for us and for others. So remember to always have faith in God, even on those bad days. Thanks again for tuning in today. We're going to continue to learn about Joseph next week. And until then, I hope you all have a blessed week. And I hope you remember that even on those bad days, God can use our troubles to make us stronger and to help others.